Welcome to Learning Japanese with Trading Cards. In this video, we're going to look at the MTG card crop rotation from 4 different learning perspectives. First, we have ondoku. This will be reading the card aloud in Japanese. Second, kanji. We'll study some kanji appearing in the card and look at their readings and how to write them. 3. Bunpo. We will learn about a specific grammatical form that the card uses and what this means. Finally, honyaku. We'll put this all together to write our own translation of the card and compare it to the official English version. この呪文を唱えるための追加コストとして、土地一つを生贄に捧げる。あなたのライブラリから土地カード1枚を探し、戦場に出し、その後、あなたのライブラリを切り直す。Here I've taken the kanji from the card title. Together they say rinsaku, which is crop rotation. Let's start with the one on the left. Let's go through its stroke order and look at its readings and some examples of those. Now the onyomi reading for this kanji is rin. The kunyomi reading for it is wa. So let's look at words with an example for each of these readings. So first, the onyomi reading, rin. We have rinkaku, which is a silhouette or an outline. An example of the kunyomi reading would be yubiwa, which is a ring. So the meaning of this kanji is typically to do with wheels or things that are round. Okay, let's look at the second kanji. So the onyomi reading for this kanji is saku or sa. The kunyomi reading is tsuku. One example of the onyomi reading for this kanji would be sakubun, which is writing or composition, essay. An example of the kunyomi reading would be the verb tsukuru, to make or produce, to build something. In terms of just general meanings for this kanji, we can think about things such as to make, to produce, or to build. Let's now look at the grammatical form toshite that appears in this card. So in the green box, I've taken the sentence that uses this piece of grammar. Let's read it through first. この呪文を唱えるための追加コストとして、土地一つを生贄に捧げる. So we see we have something of the form. We call this A. And this part B. we have A として B をする. So part A that comes before として, what is this saying? 呪文を唱える is to cast a spell. この呪文 is the card we've been looking at. 輪作, crop rotation. Then we have 唱えるため. ため marks an intention or an aim, an objective. So here the objective is actually casting the spell. 追加コスト is additional cost. この呪文を唱えるための追加コスト. This is an additional cost to cast this spell. For B, we have 土地一つを生贄に捧げる. So something を生贄に捧げる is to sacrifice something. The something in this case is 土地一つ is a single land that you control on the battlefield. So B says sacrifice a land. So what this grammatical form is saying is do B where the role of B is A. In other words, it's saying do B as A. Now, if we take the meanings that we have for A and B from this sentence, we would have something like sacrifice a land, do B, where the role of sacrificing a land is an additional cost to cast this spell, A. Or sacrifice a land, do B, as an additional cost to cast this spell, A. So putting it all together, this says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a land. The form we have here is where として is preceded by a noun. So we have a noun plus として, or, in Japanese, a 名詞 plus として. Now let's look at translating the card text in full. Now the first sentence we have just gone over in the grammar section, where we looked at として and its translation of as. Once again, to recap, the part before として was an additional cost to cast this spell, and the bit that came after, sacrifice a land. として links those two. The part preceding として describes the role of the thing proceeding として. So the role of sacrificing a land was to fulfill an additional requirement to cast the spell. So our translation for this will be, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a land. Now, the second sentence describes what this card does in the game. あなたのライブラリから土地カード1枚を探し、戦場に出し、その後、あなたのライブラリを切り直す. So let's divide this up into a few sections, going up until the first comma. Anata no library. Library is library, which refers to your deck of cards in Magic the Gathering. So, anata no library is your library. Then we have library kara tochi card 1枚を探し. Sagas is to search. We have library kara sagashi. So we're searching for something from our library. Now, what is it that we're actually searching for? That's tochi card 1枚, which is a single land card. Tochi card is a land card. 1枚 is a single one of those. Let's say, search your library for a land card. After this, we have senjō ni dashi. Senjō is a battlefield, and that's where a lot of the interactions take place in Magic the Gathering. That's where creatures and other things that each player control exist. Senjō ni dasu is to put or place onto the battlefield. The thing that we are putting or placing on the battlefield is the card that we have just searched for. Following this, we have その後、あなたのライブラリを切り直す. その後 is after that or then. 切り直す is a verb that means to shuffle, like shuffle a deck of cards. あなたのライブラリを切り直す is to shuffle your library. When are we doing that? We're doing that after we have searched and then put that land card onto the battlefield. その後. Okay, so let's read our translation. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a land. Search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. I'll now reveal the official English, and you can compare it to the Japanese. I hope this video was useful. If there's any card that you'd like me to cover, perhaps leave a comment about that. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.